this way, recognize that the energy you are manifesting at this time is allowing you to understand that the exchange as you have co-created it to exist in the form it exists now is so that you can recognize that all similar exchanges which have usually, in your terms, undergone their transitions covertly are now being brought to the surface, and the exchanges are taking place very blatantly in that way. Nothing is being hidden in that sense. All the interactions are taking place right upon the surface, so that each and every one of you can now understand there is no longer even the idea of the need to keep such interchanges, such exchanges under the rug, as you say, but in this way to bring them to the surface, to give you the opportunity to see clearly, consciously, whether or not you truly do or do not wish that to be representative of the type of reality you feel you want to live in. Are you following along so far?
Yeah.
Recognize in this way, it is your willingness to face having such a decision in your reality, because it is now out in the open for everyone to see in that way. And you can allow yourselves to recognize. Now, understand, this is not a chastisement. It is not a judgment. In your terminology, it is simply an observation from our point of view. You have co-created an opportunity to allow you, we are speaking of the idea for now, of what you call your country specifically, to allow you to function and act within the idea of strength, and in our perspective you chose weakness. In this way, you allowed yourself the opportunity to become exactly like that which you said you abhorred. You follow me?
Yeah.
Now, in this way, allow us, if you will, someone, anyone, verbatim, with what you call your pencil and your paper. Take this down, though we recognize it will be on your tape as well. As follows. While you are getting ready in this way, we will illuminate that many of you have recognized that we have shared with you the idea that this is activity month, and active it is. Now, active on your part you can be, and we have suggested a few ideas about recognizing that you are your government, and that you can communicate as your governments to other factions of your government as you have created them, letting them know that you prefer peace, and trusting your own imagination to allow you the opportunity to communicate with them in whatever way, shape, and form you so desire, without judging, without chastising, without accusation. Now, you have asked me many times for the idea of suggestion. Now, not that you have to do this, but I am about to give you one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Write this down. You have killed. We have killed. We have shown each other that it is easy for us to kill. Can we each now exhibit the strength that it takes to love one another? We are willing to co-create a reality of faith, of harmony, and mutually supportive and beneficial exchange. Sign it, the people of the United States. Now, our suggestion would be to take this, print it in what you call your language of English, your language of Arabic, on the same card, and suggest to your recognizable governmental structure, even though you yourself are your government, that these cards be allowed in this way, using what you know to be your so-called military machinery, your planes, your ships, using those devices as you have already used them for destruction. Use those planes, use those ships. Take these cards with both languages and as many thousands of cards and as many thousands of flowers as you can find, and drop those on their country. That is our suggestion. You can form a cooperation, and again without judgment, without accusation, without desperation, offer, not in a demanding way, but with a type of knowing insistence. You understand the difference? That your governmental structure in this way would then be able to find that no one in your world would be able to view the idea negatively as they have viewed what you have done negatively in any way that would matter to you. If you are willing to take the opportunity, to take the first step, make the first offering, now in your terms that you are equal, life for life. That is our suggestion. You may do with it as you wish. It is that degree of boldness and that degree of cooperation that we have meant when we suggested that you communicate equally with your governments, as boldly as you are willing to, as creatively as you are willing to, as lovingly as you are willing to. We thank you for allowing us to suggest that idea to you. And no matter what you do with it, we will always send you our unconditional love.
Thank you, Bashar.
We thank you. Sherry,
Bashar,
you.
what remember
ramifications of the decision. It's mid-April, and it was around the time that the big decision was supposed to be made.
Yes, this is it. Make it.
So
You are right in the middle of it. This is the idea. Choose how you want your world to be and act like it. It is the performing of the action that is representative of the world you believe you want. That is what will be making the decision. Follow me. Here it is, big and bold, right in front of you all. Sharing.
Bashar?
Yes.
Could the action be taken in one's local spheres?
Of course.
Well, certainly they can, but I mean, I was going to say, instead of acting in a large international sphere, act within your own neighborhood or just the people that you know, reflecting those things that you would like the country to reflect to other countries.
Do all you are willing to do. Thank you. Sure.
Yeah.
This may sound a little strange, but I felt I had an experience that's been sort of going on for the last 2-3 weeks. And somehow I felt there was an analogy with the Libya incident.
All right.
It started out with my dog, one of my dogs, coming into the house with, on 3 different occasions, eating birds. I didn't actually see it, I just saw the feathers.
All right.
And I first thought, well, that's really, strange. I didn't like it. And last weekend, it occurred to me that I really should think about it in terms of myself, what it meant.
All right. What did you come up with?
Well, it reflects this. I've always had a problem all my life about the food chain and the, quote, cruelty of nature. And I thought, well, perhaps it just reflects that I should accept it, or it reflects a decision I have to make.
You can. Yes.
And over the weekend, I did some planting, and I planted some tomato plants and flowers and stuff. And on Monday, I saw that the snails had gotten to my tomatoes.
Right.
And had eaten most of them.
Yes.
Or half of them about. And I got really angry. And I really sort of agonized about what to do, because I don't like to use poisons and I don't like to kill things.
All right.
And I thought, well, gee, they're going to eat everything I plant, I'll have to kill them after all.
Not necessarily.
I know. Then towards the end of the day, I thought, okay, I'll build a trench around it to make a barrier and go talk to the snail consciousness
All
up
right.
on my hill.
Yes.
And so that's what I did.
All
and
right.
then later on Tuesday morning, I realized that I had sort of gone through the same thing in a very minor way.
Not a minor way, a private way.
Or a private way, that I represented the United States
Yes.
having to make a decision about intrusions on my
Yes.
territory.
Yes.
And so I felt pretty good that I decided not to kill them.
Thank you very much. That decision, whether you may think so or not, makes a difference in the entire world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar,
Good.
I want to relate to you something that happened to me on the 11th of April.
All right.
I was planning to go to work. Somehow my ride and I never met.
All right.
So I called a friend and she picked me up. She called her work and she wasn't supposed to go to work that day either. It just so happens that this particular individual that I spent the whole day with
Nice.
was the most active person I've ever met in my life.
Oh. Good reflection.
I was just wondering what significance it...
Significant.
Significant?
What significant? The most active person I have met in my life. This is activity month. What significance? 1 + 1 equals...
Well, actually, what I want to be a little bit more specific about.
Well, all right.
Does it have anything to do with the blending of our energy on that particular day? Or what do you perceive about that?
Sometimes I marvel at, not to be derogatory, your lack of willingness to recognize an obvious thing and allow it to be enough to stand on its own right.
I got that, but I thought there could be more to it than I could perceive from the third density.
So
I'm interested.
So find out.
Like how?
Act on it. Continue to act on it. And you will lead yourself where you need to go. Is that not sufficient for you?
That's fine.
Are you sure? Well, do you truly understand how it will give you what you want?
No, not really.
Then it is not sufficient for you.
Right.
Understand the whole idea is that you have created that interaction to begin with. All you need to do in life is to continue to live what life you are creating, to find out everything about why you're creating it. You do not find out what the process is for by stopping it and analyzing it. You find out by experiencing it, by letting it flow and flowing with it. Then it becomes obvious. And you will recognize the growth that you are getting from the interaction.
Then why do we come here and ask you questions?
I don't know. That has always been our primary point. I will be doing my job the best when you don't need me anymore. You get it?
I get it.
Thank you. Now, then, it will be a gift in that way. Beginning of the breaking of a long-held habit. Segregation in that way. And even though you will find that that idea was explored in your country, the idea of separation in that sense, your country still is the idea of the representation of the blending of all cultures.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Just one last.
All right.
I have this idea that there is a master plan, and that
Well, in a sense.
consciousnesses such as yourself, your civilization, other civilizations, have an intention to lend support to the execution of the master plan like a game of chess, and that the founding of the United States was a definite, intentioned move in that overall game. My curiosity is, what's the most imminent next move at this point in time as we measure time considered to exist?
The willingness, as we have been telling you for quite some time, to act as the next step, as if it already existed. It is the blending of your entire planet into one consciousness. Just as you had individuals who became tribes, who became villages, who became towns, who became cities, who became countries, who are now becoming one world, who will then become a part of the idea of an association of worlds.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you.
Over the last few years, I've come across some information. Well, are you familiar with writers on our planet?
Some.
Okay, Ruth Montgomery?
Yes.
Okay, the information I'm talking about talks about things like what happened in Libya.
Yes.
And I feel really concerned about it because...
Concerned?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's my own fear, so obviously there's lessons for me to learn about myself.
All right. Until you allow yourself to transform that fear, that will be the reality you experience.
And that is my question. Can you give me some suggestions on that? Because I've tried different things, and I thought that
Then how about not trying, but doing? Otherwise, if you are trying, you are only doing trying. In your terminology, it is half-hearted.
Okay, I understand.
All right. Where is your trust? Where is your knowingness that the reality of peace and harmony is the reality you believe to be the one that has the most power behind it?
I have been more and more in touch with feeling that,
All right.
you know, in the last few months and coming here and talking to you and learning.
All right.
And I
Then,
feel really good
in
about
that
it.
sense, you can, first of all, understand that you are doing just fine.
Okay. But when this whole thing with Livia started, I guess it was, maybe it's just an old idea that came up. It reminded me of an old feeling. I'm not real sure.
All
but I'm just feeling real
ideas,
uneasy.
like any given moment, are new. You make the connection that says it is old.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Every idea, like any given moment, is new. Even if you choose in that new moment to create a connection to the idea of the past, to something you consider to be old. But it is never the same. Never. You are a different perspective, a different point of view, a different time, frame, space, reference. It is always a new perspective. Any connections that seem to be repeating are the ones you are choosing to make so that you can see how the idea relates to where you are now. Only because you judge that it is something old coming up again and feeling like you have not made progress, do you not see that it is a new perspective and allow yourself to reap the benefits of that point of view.
Okay.
You follow the mechanism.
Yes, I understand that. The other part of my question had to do with a lot of what her books talk about.
Right.
I guess I just would like a comment or your idea on. I don't understand why those books end up on our planet to begin with. I mean,
why they end up on your planet?
Well, I mean, I don't know
they
how
don't
else
fall out
to
of
put
the
it.
sky.
Of course not. I know that. I mean, you know, why do we end up with? According to Ruth Montgomery, she is receiving channeled information.
Guys.
Okay. Why is this kind of information coming here? That's what I want to know. If I hear other types of information from other channels saying it's as you perceive it to be, so if you want to be involved in the fear consciousness, and then you will get fear.
Good. And so in that way, what you can understand is that an individual who chooses to channel their higher self in that way, with that belief system already intact, will translate the idea in their own terminology.
Mm-hmm.
It is as simple as that.
Okay, so maybe is she channeling? Are there actual energies that are channeling through her, or and she's perceiving it as the way she feels it should be? Is that what you're saying?
To a degree.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
It is funneling through a structure, a belief system, and being translated according to the terms inherent in that belief system. Because the feeling is the same, and because of the way you have structured your world in that way, there is not necessarily the opportunity to understand that it is being interpreted rather than allowed literally through. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
If you wish the idea of any so-called guidelines at all, it is simply, very basically, this idea. You are self-empowered to choose whatever reality you desire. There is no one way. The truth is composed of all truths. You create your own reality according to your beliefs. That is it. That is all that defines the physical universe. Therefore, any idea that carries specificity within it about how the reality in your universe can be structured is a suggestion based upon a perception that is the vibration that is harmonious with the individual making the suggestion. You can adapt it in whatever way your imagination sees fit, because that is the nature of the information. It is basically neutral. You give it the meaning that it has. All situations are fundamentally neutral. Nothing carries with it meaning. You give it meaning according to your perception of your relative position and viewpoint regarding the situation. But all elements of a situation are basically neutral. At least that is how the higher self sees it. You follow me?
Yes, I do, very clearly.
Then you can understand it is up to you to glean and create positive manifestation from a positive attitude and point of view, or negative manifestation from a negative attitude and point of view about a basically neutral situation.
Therefore, then people are just going to resonate to the information that feels right for them.
Correct. That is all there is to it. And much of the information comes through in various ways so that it can reach all the different ways people look at things. So they can all feel the basic energy that is there and understand it on that term, but all of the trappings that go with it, they are not essential for the understanding of the basic feeling. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bashar, it's my understanding that you on your planet, as you create time to exist, create time more flexibly than we have been creating it on our planet.
Guys.
As such, as we have counted time, you have been channeling, well, basically through Daryl here at Steve's house for about 15 or 16 months. I'm wondering, as you count time on your planet, is 3 months?
Guys.
So ours is significantly more expansive in that respect.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. I have one more question myself. Could you help me pinpoint the source of my high degree of interest and facility and love of words?
The idea, as we perceive it primarily, stems from many, many ideas of incarnation having to do with the study of the physical universe and requiring precise formulation to describe that idea.
Oh, yes.
And also, a couple of lives in which you were very distraught over not being understood in your communication, and so made, let us say, a pact with yourself to discover anything that would assist you in the precise communication of your intention. So you are highly focused in that way, primarily because of a need to define things that were important to you.
It's interesting, it comes from a high degree of separation, from which I created the idea of needing to communicate. In other words, I separate and then I need to create the idea of communicating.
A wonderfully creative paradox.
Thank you, yeah. I've had fun with it.
Yes, so have I.
Thank you.
Bashar? Yes. I wanted to take this a little bit further, that what you said to write, etc. I know some of us, or quite a few of us, have been writing to the President, and I wrote to the President and the Speakers of the House, etc., etc. Now, I would like to suggest that perhaps we again write, and those that haven't written, go ahead and write and incorporate this in their letter, stating what you, in our own words, what you stated, asking them to do this. And also we could probably, I think what we need is to join together and get this going, like contact churches, things like that, the people that are wanting this, the peace, the love.
Thank you for your suggestion and your willingness to do that. Anyone else who wishes to share that idea may join along.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Female and male.
I have more than one thing, but first of all, I want to make a suggestion that I happen to think of having to do with this idea of the cards. There's a periodical that occurs, though I think it's weekly or something, called the Examiner or something like that. This little weekly tabloid that's like read by millions and millions of people. And they love causes, and I imagine that they would probably be willing to print something like that and get, millions of people to send in money and get the idea going that somebody wants to do that.
All right.
Yeah.
You just volunteered.
I just stated a safety observation. Okay. The first thing I want to ask you is going right along the line with what he was saying is I'm interested in pinpointing this, for myself, this incredible fascination.
This what?
Pardon me?
This what?
Incredible.
What?
That's incredible.
You see, I am becoming selectively third density deaf.
Great, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
This intense fascination that I seem to have for physics and atoms and the malleability of atoms.
Yes.
And things of this nature, which, as a secretary in the previous history of this lifetime, has nothing to do with.
That one connection that we can perceive, and this is all we can share with you at this time, for we do not want to increase the labeling of things, is one connection to the idea you call scientist in Atlantis, and one not on this planet.
Well, the one not on this planet, you consider that a future life or a past life? In our terms.
Our perception is that it can be both.
Okay.
To form the triangulation. The center, yes.
Interesting. Now I have two more things. One is I have a question to ask you. I was listening to a tape of one that you did last week or the week before, and you were talking about the idea that your society holds of the fact that if something is not going as you expected, that's wonderful, and it has something to do with the fact that that means that the higher self is taking over, or human.
Yes.
Yeah, taking over. Now,
We are simply saying that it is a statement of trust that even what you call the unexpected is a part of the path you chose to be.
Okay, that's sort of that. I was wondering, like, did you at some point all decided that was what it was to be? That was
Yes. Right.
Now, let's see. Oh, there was another thing. Actually, there's two more things. One is I have a sharing, which is quite fascinating, and I wanted to share it with everybody.
All right.
This previous week or 2 weeks actually have been quite active in my universe.
Yes.
That I've judged to be negative and everything.
Let me say so.
Okay. And anyway, I got quite ill bodily as far as like physical disease.
All right.
Flu and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Anyway, and so one night I was laying in bed and I was like feeling extremely uncomfortable and had chills and just really sick in our terms of sick. And I was laying there and I kind of dozed off and I dreamed, quote unquote, that instead of having intense, terrible chills and I was extremely cold, that I was just the opposite, when I was like way too warm and just this intense heat.
Yes.
And then I realized that I was viewing both of these realities, and I was actually in both of these realities. I felt the body and the whole thing, and it was totally real. It was just as this is right here.
Yes.
But I realized that both of those were a dream, not just the one.
Yes.
And I was sort of the spectator, although I was in the reality.
Very good. Very good.
Kind of a new
both
dream.
are dreams.
Yeah.
And both are real.
Well, I've heard you say this many times, and I had not had the personal experience.
Now you have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now, one other thing is...
Briefly.
Okay. One of the things I've been experiencing for a number of months now is a phenomena having to do with memory.
Yes.
And it seems to be getting worse rather than better.
No.
Wait a minute. Let me
All right.
my own estimation. When I look at things... Like
Something else you are choosing to judge.
Okay, that's true, but let me finish. So, like, for instance, the other day I was in the shower, I mean, I was going to get in the shower, and then I looked over, and the water was running in the shower. Now, I know I must have turned it on. There was nobody else there, but I had absolutely no memory, no recollection, no pictures, nothing. There was nothing there.
All right.
And I tried real hard to remember doing it. I had nothing to go on. Nothing.
Right.
And this has been happening.
Right.
And, of course, at work, it's real frustrating because I cannot remember what I'm supposed to remember or have it.
All right. You know, we said that is one of the symptoms of the transformation. As you are becoming more in the now, you recognize that the present is not a result of the past. And you drop the connection to the past, so that in the now moment you know exactly what you need to know as the now being that you are, and do not have to create the idea of a memory to know it.
Okay, well, the thing with the shower...
And, in that way, recognize there can be situations symptomatic of this idea of recognizing that the you that you were when you turned the shower on is not the you were when you went back and saw it. So the you that you were that saw it did not contain the memory of having turned it on because you were another you, more completely than you have ever been before.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, at the moment that occurred, I looked at it and I thought, well, yeah, okay. In this situation, I do not need the memory because it doesn't, I mean, the shower's on and now I'm going to...
Yes.
Right. Now...
You are allowing yourself to get used to the idea a little bit at a time so that you can trust it and allow it to be a comfortable shift.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, at work it had been comfortable.
All right. Did you enjoy your shower?
Yes.
Right.
I even enjoyed the look at the fact that I didn't need to remember having...
Oh, thank you very much for your sharing. May.
Yes. You're going to love this one, Bashar.
Oh, thank you. I always do.
How can I best, me specifically, how can I best avail myself of my higher consciousness?
Have you talked to it?
Yep.
What does it tell you?
A lot of things.
Well, why not ask it?
Well, I was thinking that maybe you'd be a good reflection from it.
Very clever of you. But take the responsibility and see what happens. Now, using your imagination, if you are to ask your higher consciousness right now the question you have asked me, what does it say? Don't think about it. What is the first thing you get?
I get a number of things.
All right.
But I definitely get something. Thank you.
Then understand you are already doing it.
Yeah.
Exactly as you need to be. Thank you for your willingness to recognize you are already plugged in.
I have another question.
All right.
It seems that a being coming through it.
The purpose of the interaction.
Yeah. So,
It is, to some degree, the idea that you call speaking in tongues. For in this way, it transcends the learned memory of the physical being and connects into all they have ever been or can be in that way.
So when you're talking memory, you're not talking now memory, is that right?
All memory
All memory.
is now memory, though.
so do you have to be in a deep trance to channel that way or not? Not sure.
Well, not really, although you can be in that state and be active. It is the same state, so to speak, but you can learn to adapt it so that you are functional, so to speak, in your terms, while you are in that state.
Well, Bashar?
Okay.
In that, I was just thinking when you were talking about that, if a person even stayed totally conscious, if they were being completely in the moment and weren't thinking about anything, that
They would have access to it.
the being would be able to use the body, and you would not be interfering in any way because you would not do anything.
In that way, yes. And also it is the opportunity to recognize that it does not need to concern a so-called other consciousness, but that your own can function in that way as well. We used an analogy recently in your terms of time with another individual that if they were in a given moment, though they had not been before, willing to completely be the idea of a musician, say, play the piano as you call it, they would in that moment, whether they had lessons or not, by truly, completely being a pianist, know everything a pianist needs to know, and would play the piano in that moment. whether it is in their memory or not.
Bashar.
Then you.
Does the term Menashe mean anything to you? Or have you any familiarity with that term?
The vibration does not translate. What does it mean to you by definition?
I don't know. I'm asking this for someone who could not be here tonight, who seemed to...
Have they shared with you any of their interpretation?
It seems to have something to do with her higher self, she thinks.
All right. Suggest for now that she simply act upon that idea and see where it takes her. Understand any arrangements, any agreements, whether with the idea of your higher self or so-called other consciousness, will always take you where you need to go, once again, if you are willing to act on whatever you have of the information in the moment. You do not need to have the specifics laid out as a blueprint to be able to travel that path. You will see it as you go.
Okay. The other thing I'm going to ask...
One moment. We can suggest this idea that the terminology, at least to our perception, which has as much meaning as you care to give it, Menashe, can be viewed as either child of light or child of light. Either way.
Oh, that's interesting. Because this person is a very loving kind of person who I personally see on that level.
All right. Then in that way, you may reflect that idea to her.
Great. The other thing is, for quite a while now, I've been doing a lot of meditation.
All right.
And
having a good time.
An extremely good time.
Oh, thank you.
It's been interesting in that I have been able to ascertain information through meditation that I have not been able to get any other way.
Yes.
And I've reached the point that I'm not doing it as much. And one of the things that I want to know, is there a danger, or is there such a thing as meditating too much in your estimation? To a point of nothing happening in my life.
In a sense, that can occur, yes. Simply recognize that the opportunity is that you can recognize that as you act, you are meditating at the same time.
Right. Well, that aspect of meditation I understand, even though I don't do that type of meditation as much as the quiet sitting.
All right.
And I have the strong desire and belief that this is taking me somewhere, because when I do act, just like about 5 minutes before I ask the question,
yes.
You
are seeing synchronicity.
Okay. Because this sound, okay, you're picking up. Okay, because it's been very interesting. I mean, it's like I'll meditate one day, and within 48 hours,
you will get a reinforcement of the idea you have been considering.
Okay, like the dolphin.
Yes.
Okay.
You are allowing synchronicity to function in your life, to become the ecstatic explosion of coincidence, so that you can recognize that your life as an action is also a meditation.
Okay. I want to, at some point, teach this on a level that I want to share this.
All right. You are doing so right now. Very beautifully.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't need to say anything else.
Oh, thank you very much. Well taught.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Bashar, can you tell me anything about the whereabouts of a large amethyst crystal that I brought with me last week? And will it materialize again?
I do not know. Why do you feel you need it?
I don't need it.
All right.
Well, I don't need it. It was in my caretaking for a friend,
Yes.
and I would like to return it to her when she returns home.
Our perception is that there is a high degree of probability that you will.
Where did it go?
That does not show up. What shows up in our perception is simply the mechanics of the interaction, that there is a process that she is creating herself to go through that can result in the so-called finding of the crystal and then the returning it exactly at the precise time, or just slightly before, or just slightly after, depending upon what she wants to see reflected to herself from the friend. Examine the idea of caretaking in that way, and responsibility, not for something, but to everyone. All right?
What is the difference between those two, Bashar, 4 and 2?
Being responsible for someone else, in a sense, is attempting to live their lives for them. Being responsible to them is being completely the person you know yourself to be, so that you are an accurate reflection of who you chose to be to them, so that they can see in you the reflection that is the service that they can then choose for themselves if they desire to. Thank you. One moment.
I just wanted to, when you were speaking to someone in the back room a few minutes ago,
Nice.
about becoming the idea of the concert pianist,
Nice.
and without that information in their memory bank, they are able to function in this such.
All ideas come complete as an idea with all the ingredients necessary for the support of that idea in existence. If you are willing to completely know, immerse yourself in the trust of actually being that idea, the universe will support you by funneling to you all the information that goes into defining what it is to be that idea, so that you can continue to be that idea.
So can you take on somebody's name, a famous pianist? If you take it upon you, then you would become this person?
In a sense, yes. But it will be your version of that idea. It is not so much that you will be them, but you will be exhibiting the same abilities they were able to tap into as well, in that sense.
That's why name of wise men have so much energy.
In a sense, yes, you are perceiving that it is a vibrational equation, an identification which, if you make yourself one to, can exist on the same level and exhibit the same traits. Very good. In a sense. But it is not so much that you have to rely on them as a symbol in that way, but that you can recognize that you also contain the same energy, and that you are a master as well. Thank you. Yes.
So I'm a singer, so I'd like to utilize that for myself.
Then all it takes is complete and total trust of what you just said. I am a singer.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, if you feel you have to work at it, you don't believe you are a singer.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
You, bring it.
You said something earlier about the founding fathers had, and it touched on something that I was curious about for quite a while now. When you reincarnate,
Yes.
before you decide to come back,
Yes.
do you have a choice
Yes.
as to how much of your consciousness, how much of your beingness, how much of you bring with you?
You can make certain adjustments and shifts in that way, yes.
So that
Parts of you can, in a sense, be siphoned off for other reasons in that way, and other parts added to form a new identity, and in a sense, that is what happens, otherwise you would not be a new identity.
Okay, but could you say, this time I'm going to reincarnate and I'll have all the wisdom that I've had in this life and that life and that life, and I will be all of myself? I mean, you always say that...
Now understand that, technically speaking, if you choose to incarnate, you are by definition, choosing a certain form of limitation, you can be all that you need to be as that definition of that limitation. You will not be all of yourself, because all of yourself is more than just the physical reality.
Right, I understand that.
But you determine the general definition of what you will function as. You follow me?
Well, a little bit. It sort of touches also on an idea that Seth had in one of his books. He said that part of him was in a dog. Part of his consciousness was in a dog.
In a sense.
And so I was thinking, well, can I have my consciousness? Part of it is in this, and part of it is...
Oh, you do already.
Yeah.
Animal consciousness, to use your example, is an extension of your own consciousness. And so you can say you are also part of you in a dog, in a cat, in whatever.
Can you explain that further?
Simply that you understand in this way that as the creator consciousness that you are, other consciousness that, in your terms, surrounds you, that does not analyze itself, that cannot forget who and what it is, are simply extensions of your creatorhood consciousness to act as guides and reflections to always give you an immediate, obvious physical tap into your own natural godhood. They are extensions of your consciousness, not that they do not know themselves as their own consciousness, but when they see themselves as an individual, they see themselves not only as the idea of an individual, but they see the idea of being an individual as being connected to everything else they interact with. That is what defines them to themselves as an individual consciousness. They recognize they are extensions of all the consciousness of your creatorhood. In the same way that you might say, to use an analogy, you are a bubble. You decide to create a physical reality, so you snip off little small bubbles of yourself and surround yourself with all of these projections that are extensions of your own consciousness but function as if they are separate, to reflect to you certain aspects that were contained in the entire bubble to begin with. Yes. Does that clarify the idea to some extent for you?
Yes.
For you.
For example, could I decide, well, I'm going to have a life as somebody who doesn't think very much, and
yes.
So I'm not going to put too much of my consciousness in there because all it needs is to react physically.
Well, all of the same degree of consciousness will be there, but you will simply pattern the physiological consciousness to create the situation in that way that the circumstances of your physical life will go into giving you the belief structure that will allow you to function that way. You follow me?
I think so, yeah. I'm often surprised at how long it takes to integrate concepts sometimes.
Only because you are in a reality that does not know you are connected to them to begin with.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
I recently had an experience that was new for me.
All right.
A few nights ago, I was practicing some calligraphy to try to get my hand back. And
back from where?
To where the characters are smooth and beautiful.
All right.
And I started, after practicing for a while, I started writing in symbols and characters that I had never seen before. And after a while, there was about, I guess, 8 different languages or characters of languages that I had never seen.
The emotional language that many of you are learning to speak.
Later, a few days later, I started seeing a symbol in my mind, and I saw it all day long, and then that evening I decided I was going to draw it out.
Right.
When I drew the symbol out, it came to me that it was the symbol for a particular planet that wanted an alphabet created.
All right.
And in this alphabet, they wanted all the characters in the alphabet had to contain this one particular symbol.
Oh, okay.
And it was to be a national alphabet. They had other alphabets, but this was one that they wanted created as a like a planet-wide alphabet. So I created it for them.
How exciting!
And they were very pleased. And
I
there had
think
been
so.
other people who tried to create it but had not succeeded to their satisfaction. Since that time, I've created about 8 or 9 other alphabets for other planets. What was interesting was that this first one, they said that I had won a prize.
First time out. Congratulations.
And what I was wondering is,
What did you win?
is there such a thing as a universal banking system?
There can be, in a sense, although, again, on our planet we do not use the idea of money at all. Our banking system is in each other.
Well, this was very, very enjoyable, and I would do it for nothing anyway. However, they wanted to give me something, and
All right.
at that particular time, they are 40 million light years from here. The communication link is instantaneous. But what happens on the physical? How does the physical part be transmitted?
What do you think they want to give you?
Checks in the mail.
Do you know?
Yes.
What?
Gold.
Gold. Why?
I don't know. It's what they wanted.
I see. Do you not have gold upon your planet?
Yeah.
Then, allow me to suggest that if you acquire a bit of it, you will make the identification by allowing them, in a sense, and yourself, to co-create the bit you have, to be the bit they need to give you, so that it becomes imbued with the co-created energy that they can transmit. And then, you can explore the energy that exists within that element that your civilization has not yet discovered. What's that?
In this particular incident, it was like I was the source being channeled through another person. Does this happen? Like
Yes.
What's happening now?
Yes. You do form connections, particularly in your dream reality, where you do function in much the same way as I am functioning through this physical channel on other planets.
Well, I was totally conscious.
Yes. So am I.
It was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bashar?
One moment. Gold has within it a type of one moment. All right. After your break. Okay. Yes.
I have had a sort of a physical disability of a bad lower back and neck, and I wonder what lesson this is.
For how long?
For the back for 20 years, off and on every 5 years.
All right.
The neck for a couple of years.
All right.
But it's been persisting for the last couple of months, which has been giving me a lot of discomfort.
Yeah. Because things are accelerating in that way, first and foremost understand that what you call the base of the neck between the shoulder blade in that way will be the channeling chakra, the opening up of yourself to your higher self, and the energy coming through, if there is the idea of a so-called blockage, can create what you call physical pain in that area to increase. Now, are you exploring the idea of being supported?
In what way?
In what you want to do.
Yes.
Could be abundance.
Definitely.
All right. What have you recognized about this idea of support?
I've turned the running or the control of my life over to my higher self.
Where does that leave you here?
It leaves me here because of my higher self or my choice of being here.
But in what state does it leave you to completely and utterly hand over control to your higher self, rather than allowing the higher self to function as the higher self and allowing your physiological consciousness to function in control of its own free will, and then simply synchronize and harmonize the two vibrations, rather than completely giving over your ability to also choose what you are willing to experience in your physical life.
Well, I feel that I am my higher self, so therefore...
All right. Then you know you are in control here as well.
Right.
All right. Now, the idea of support. What have you explored to this point about that idea?
Basically just letting things happen that are supposed to happen.
And what has happened?
I didn't support it.
All right. Now, have you felt a connection to the idea of electricity in any way?
Slightly, like maybe a sense of twitches and so forth. If you're talking about a physical electric.
Yeah. How does that feel?
Stimulating.
All right, good. There are individuals upon your planet who are exploring the idea of the application of electric current to the physical body in certain areas to stimulate the idea of regeneration in those areas. Now, in your terms, it is a young science. They may or may not find an application in your particular situation, though we do perceive that some offshoot of their particular endeavors could be of assistance to you in that way. There are devices that they have created that you might avail yourself of in that sense, and see if they do make a difference in balancing the electromagnetic field around and about you and within your body in that particular area of your nervous system, your spinal system. Also, has there been any work done by yourself and by others with you on your brain?
Not on my brain, no.
Only on your back?
Yes.
My, you are such a network.
Always a robot.
Do you know what in your language the word simulacrum means?
No.
A model. A representation.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes.
Can you create in your imagination a representation of a body that can be yours that does not feel this pain?
Yes.
What does it look like in terms of its visual appearance, energy-wise, light-wise, descriptively, surface-wise?
It's clear.
Good.
Translucent.
Good. Now, can you for a moment, knowing that you will not alter the pristine condition of that imaginary body, but can you for a moment look at the body and imagine that that body, in its state of transparency, does have the pain that you have?
Yeah.
How does it show up in that body?
Glowing red area.
All right. Can you hold this image in your imagination?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and let it out while you are holding this image. One more breath. And once more. Are they changing color yet at all?
The blue.
All right. Now, how does that feel if you were to apply that idea to your body?
Soothing.
All right. Can you now allow that blue area to become just as transparent as the rest of the body?
Yes.
Can you allow yourself to become that body?
Yes.
How does it feel?
Great.
Now, allow your imagination to alter it in whatever way, shape, and form it so desires. Our suggestion to you would be to do this visualization 3 times a day. 3 times a day. For at least 3 days. Then, take stock of the image and see if it is, in your terms, more difficult to imagine those areas existing. If you still perceive them, do it again for 3 more days. And before each time you do it, inhale and exhale deeply 3 times. And as you conclude the exercise, inhale and exhale deeply 3 times. All right?
Okay.
That will be our suggestion for now. There are many, many, many activities taking place upon the network you are creating yourself to be. You are, in initiating this process, it is our perception, you will initiate others. You will unlock other processes that will begin to filter into your life, some within you as realization, and some, as you call it, externally, as manifestations of interaction that will reflect the process you are doing with regard to assimilating this pain. All right?
All right.
Do that for now with no particular expectation other than the understanding that you can transform the purpose for the pain in another way. That you can still serve the purpose that the pain is there for without the pain. Without that particular tool. Because you are now willing to. All right?
Yes.
And let it into your life along all the pathways of the network you have created yourself to be. Become the hub of the web. All right?
All right.
Spider-Man?
I have one other question.
All right.
What part does destiny play in?
Thank you.
Well, let me just.
All right.
In having free choice or freedom of choice.
Thank you. Understand in this way there are 2 types of free will. The free will of the higher consciousness and the free will of the physiological consciousness. The free will of the higher consciousness is what the physiological consciousness experiences as destiny or predestination. But the free will of the higher consciousness is only expressed in the most general of terms. It is up to the free will of the physiological consciousness how to experience the specifics of the free will of the higher consciousness. For example, as we have said, let us say in general, the higher consciousness says, in life you will walk down this hall. Let us say you will explore the idea of connections. You will explore it. That is your destiny, because it is the free will of the higher consciousness. How you explore it, positively, negatively, slowly, quickly, with joy, with pain, is up to the physical consciousness here. Because to the higher consciousness, it does not matter what you choose, because to the higher consciousness, everything is learning. Everything. So, understand it is up to you how to experience that idea based upon what you choose to believe about your reality. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes.
So the higher, the higher self, then, if that's true, the lower self doesn't have a choice.
Yes. How to experience the choice made by the higher self, but the choice made by the higher self is only in the most general of terms. In other words, the idea of exploring connection, the idea of exploring abundance, the idea of exploring relationship in that way. How you choose to do it, with whom and in what way, is up to the free will of the physiological consciousness.
What determines the choice of the physiological consciousness?
What you choose to believe. How you allow yourself to what degree of synchronous harmony with your higher self. Because to the higher self, it does not care how you choose to experience that.
Well, the higher self makes the decision.
Not how to.
No. I'm not talking about the how. I mean the ultimate decision the higher self is making.
As to the general theme, yes.
Okay, so I guess I can say that. I don't want to say that. We have to still abide by the rules of the higher self. I guess what I'm saying is that we still don't have... The higher self makes the choice, and when that choice is made, even if it's made generally...
Then to the physical self, that is destiny.
Okay.
You follow me? So, being here on your planet and dealing with the integration of all of the separation you have created in previous lives is the choice of the higher selves. Going through this transformation in whatever way you here decide to go through it. The higher self doesn't care.
Why does nobody go? I mean, why do people go through it painfully then? If the conscious self has a choice, why isn't it all?
Because they do not believe that they can go through it joyfully.
So all we have to do is change our beliefs.
Yes. And that changes the experience of your reality. It is an opportunity for you to recognize that now you are choosing the idea of conscious integration rather than unconscious limitation.
Is it the same with people? We create people in our life?
Yes. You attract what vibration you are.
Well, as far as destiny goes, with the people that are...
To some degree, yes. Although that also is a wide range of ideas. It can be that many people can fulfill the same destiny in certain cases. Sometimes it will be a specific one.
But in the case where your lower self, if I say I've turned the running of my life over to God, let's say, or the universe,
right,
and that whatever I do there's no rightness, there's no wrongness, it's okay,
right,
and I just do what I do.
In integrity.
Right.
Yes.
With integrity.
And self-empowerment.
What would you mean self-empowerment?
The ability to recognize that you are powerful enough to create anything you desire without having to hurt anyone to get it.
Right, okay.
All right.
So therefore, if I'm walking down the street, I mean, it's sort of like, as far as I feel now, where I go, what I do, what I eat, when I go to sleep, what I choose to read is all sort of predestined. It's sort of like it's going to happen.
No. Understand in this way, when you, let us say, to use your example, read something, you can recognize that it may represent a harmonious playing out of the higher self's choice and then go with that flow, or you can fight it. It is up to you. You can explore the idea of not being in synchronous harmony with your higher self and give yourself the experience of limitation, separation, and pain. By saying, well, I recognize that this sets up a vibration within me, but I choose to ignore what I know to be true for me. And I will do the opposite. You can explore it that way, too. Both ways are still fulfilling the destiny of the higher self. Because the higher self is still learning about that particular general idea, either from your positive or your negative choice.
But if there's no rightness and wrongness, then either way would be correct.
Oh, yes, in that sense, yes. To the higher self, it does not care which way you go, in that sense.
But is one choice, is that one choice you're saying might be an easier way
than
the other way? Well, how does one then determine which is the easier way or not?
You can feel it.
Okay. Can you specifically say what the higher self is, please? If you could give it a definition, could you do that?
Well, in a sense, it can be referred to as what has been termed the oversoul, if you are willing to look at it that way.
Okay, well, what's the oversoul?
It is your collective consciousness of all that you are, as a collection of personalities, past, present, and future.
Okay.
Let us say it is the knowledge bank of all that you have experienced in all your lives. You can look at it that way, if you wish.
But if the oversoul is the ultimate, or the head guru, and he or she then knows it then knows the easiest path. Why can I not?
You can
say I'm turning the running of my life over to you.
Because the idea is that the running of your life is up to you, and when you choose to run it consciously, that is the easiest path.
Easy for your physiological self, not your higher self, right?
In this way, it is both. Understand the idea is that when you are being true to yourself, as the personality you recognize yourself to be, and are being of service to others by being yourself, by acting true to who you know you are, then recognize that by your own definition, being yourself should be the easiest thing in the world.
Sure.
One moment.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Does that make some sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, along the same line, if you were to say this in terms of non-separation, which is without separating what we call the lower self with the higher self, then what would your definition be of who we are without that separation? For instance, the labeling of the lower self and the higher self, and the lower self does this, and the higher self has the broader view, and the lower self has the choices.
You are the self experiencing itself in a particular mode.
Okay. And that's the reason for you talking in regards to separation of heart.
Yes. You are the self experiencing the self through a particular perspective of the self. But to be able to do that does imply some sort of separation.
Okay, now on your planet, how do you view it? And do you view it as a separation?
We can recognize that there is still obviously needs to be some degree of differentiation, otherwise we could not consider ourselves to be personalities talking with you. And at the same time, we emotionally recognize that we are creating that idea. So it is not that we choose to forget that we are doing that.
Oh, I see. Okay, so yeah, when you think of like it as an oversoul of all our personalities in order to focus on one life,
within the oversoul, then we need to make the
Yes.
separation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you can make the separation consciously.
Yeah.
If you know that the experience serves the oversoul in that way. And you will not feel like a victim.
Right.
You may all take a short break.
Thank you.
All right, allow me to say, gold. The idea of that element. It is, again, no accidental coincidence that your basic root word is aurum in that way. Aura. The idea being that gold is, in a sense, channel, funnel, transformer for the electromagnetic energy of your world in that way, in a specific way. Much as the same idea of crystals channeling energy in their own specific way, many elements will channel energy in their own specific way. The way of gold will be to create the idea of an immediacy, a nowness, the idea of stability, the maintenance of a particular level of energy, the infusion of the electromagnetic field of your planet within an equilibrium that can be transferred to your bodily auric field to maintain the type of equilibrium that can allow you to experience the idea of what you call physiological longevity. In this way, recognize that it is symbolically perceived, this energy, in the idea of gold, because the element in and of itself does not change, does not tarnish, does not decay. The gold that exists upon your planet now is the same gold that has existed for hundreds of thousands, millions of years. Exactly the same gold. Recognize that it can be utilized to create an ectoplasmic projection of that energy. It is like taking the rarefied vibration, the fundamental vibration of the electromagnetic field of your planet, and giving it a little bit of thickening, a little bit of substance. And it can leak into your auric field in that way, and allow there to be the equilibrium and the balancing, to act as a balancer between your auric field and the electromagnetic vibration of your outer world, so to speak, forming the type of identification that can form a connection, a flow, so that you can act as a flow within the field. In that way, you are flowing with the electromagnetic field. Equal, balanced, sustained, supported. And in that way, you can be maintained in that now moment. Part of what you call the idea in our spacecraft of what we have referred to as the flash matrix contains gold. It is transforming light into another type of energy, one that carries with it the type of equilibrium that allows the spacecraft to, let us say, color the energy it uses to be able, in that sense, to form balanced identifications with different vibrational frequencies. That vibration is inherent in the amplified energy, so that the ability to form a connection and an identification with any particular universe is inherent within the energy that is being amplified by simply allowing it to pass through the gold in the flash matrix. Are you following this?
Yes.
In a sense. No. In this way, as you can recognize that so many of you are fond of the metal, it can be represented in that way because of your unconscious knowingness, not so much physiologically, although you have made it so, but the idea of energy wealth, in that sense, the longevity, the goldenness that it represents to you in that way, that is why you have made that association to that particular metal in that sense. Also, you can recognize that, as you have already discovered, some of you, in conjunction with certain crystalline forms, you can direct specific forms of the application of that. Skip in translation. Amplification of that energy in that way. You can allow yourselves the opportunity to experiment in combination of crystalline form and gold to see what effects you can feel within your auric field, and then can utilize that as symbols to represent the different portions of yourself that it may allow you to discover upon reflection. All right?
Thank you.
Matilda.
You first.
When you were mentioning about the thickening,
That,
slight thickening, to manifest that, what would you just communicate telepathically with the element?
Okay.
Okay.
Share its auric field with yours.
Okay, now you don't have to have it right in front of you to do that, right?
No, you do not.
Sure.
One moment. The idea of silver is more closely connected to the energy that you would translate as your unconsciousness. And that is why it was used in the idea of the occult. You follow me? That which was hidden is what your term occult means. Hidden. And in that way, it was as a magnet, a focuser, allowing you to represent to yourself a symbol of allowing that hidden knowledge of yourself to be channeled outward. All right? Guys?
Yes, I would like for you to tell me what hyperventilation does to the body and to the consciousness.
In this way, you can find there are certain balances of that idea that can be, in a sense, beneficial for allowing you to unlock from one particular reality and refocus through the disorientation that it may cause into another. But in this way, you will always also understand that your body will regulate itself to a certain point. If you go beyond that point, you will simply pass out until you re-regulate yourself. It is the oxygenation of your system, hyperoxygenation in that way, that will reach a point of saturation beyond which you would not be able to translate the experience in physical terms, and so it shuts itself down so that you can maintain your focus in physical reality. You could, in a sense, you could literally hyperventilate yourself out of your body.
So does this help in releasing belief systems?
It can, yes.
Okay.
It is a disorientation and unlocking.
Okay. Can pure oxygen be used instead of just breathing along?
Can be. But in this way, it is also a tool. You can simply recognize that if you experiment with the idea of the patterns of your breathing, you can maintain the equilibrium that will allow you to function fully oxygenated as you need to be, in full balance with that system. Easy breathing, rather than the idea of fuller breathing in that way, can become congruent And you can find yourself perhaps breathing deeply, but less often. You follow me?
Yeah.
Well, that answers your question.
Yes, I have one more.
All right.
Let's say that we have a condition in our life that we don't necessarily, it's not necessarily appealing to us.
All right.
How do we know whether this is the result of a belief system or destiny?
Understand, it is always the result of a belief system to experience any neutral situation positively or negatively. If you find it unappealing, that is your first clue that you are experiencing the idea negatively and that it is a product of your belief system, which you can change.
So if you're going along and you're poor at the church mouse and you find this unappealing,
Okay.
then
Ask yourself, first of all, since you know it is not an interruption in your life, but a part of the path you chose to be in general, how does this serve me to have this experience?
So it is destiny.
In an overall sense, to have the general experience, yes.
Yeah.
the experience is destiny. The way you view it is your belief system.
What you learn from it is destiny, and the experience is your belief system.
Yes. And the idea of the general situation is also destiny in that way. Understand, to explore the idea, as you have said, of your own self-abundance means you can explore it physically rich or physically poor. It is the same general theme. You are exploring the idea of abundance. You can have an abundance of materiality or an abundance of poverty. You follow me? In that way, the first step, if you wish to make a step out of it, is to allow yourself to simply ask, how does it serve me? It can even be, because you are now considering it, it can even be as simple as it serves me by letting me know I don't prefer to live this way. Therefore, I will understand that I do not need to judge the fact that I have chosen to live this way, because it has brought me to this understanding. Therefore, it has served me equally to any other way I could choose. And now that I know every choice is equal to any other choice, I can now choose to experience the exploration of this idea in a more positive way.
And that's all you have to do to change your belief.
Trust. Yes.
Bashar.
Thank you.
Bashar,
One moment. Does this clarify the idea for you?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, from you! You! Then you.
I want to ask about my roommate who has it. That she went to have x-rayed and talked to the doctor about, and they wanted to cut, and she refused to.
All right.
And she's here presently.
All right.
And I'm sort of concerned about her.
Oh, concerned?
Yes.
Why are you reinforcing a probable negative outcome?
Okay, thank you for telling me that.
All right.
Okay.
You can have compassion for the strength she may have chosen to exhibit this idea within herself.
Hey, listen, I'm cheering for her making that decision. Now, what I'd really like to know is if you could perhaps relate something that she could do to help in...
Well, how does she feel about the idea?
I guess she'd have to tell you.
Yes. Well?
I don't think she wants to.
All right, why not? Can you find out?
Yeah, I guess it's her free choice, though.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now understand, first and foremost, one of the ideas can be that a willingness to share the creations that you do create in your life will then create the opportunity to be able to avail yourself of other methodologies that your civilization can share with you about how to transform any particular experience. Keeping it all bottled up inside is a good reflection of what is going on. If you are going to be insistent.
Excellent. I'm glad you said that because she has been an awful good inspiration and teacher as well as student with me since I've been there.
All right.
And
the idea of encapsulation of something you consider to be negative is simply not sharing a portion of yourself that you are judging unworthy of sharing. So you wall it off, seal it up, and allow it to become malignant. In this way, it is, as we are saying, and again, not necessarily, is it an accidental coincidence in what you term to be the speech pattern. It is being insistent in a negative way. You would call it stubborn. Now, you have the power to share. Listen to this idea, if you wish. One of the greatest gifts you can give is the gift of allowing others to give to you. Therefore, share and expand. Do not wall off portions of yourself you may think are not worthy of sharing, that you are ashamed of. For by sharing all portions of yourself, do you allow other individuals to understand yet one more way that all that it has of expressing itself so that they may learn. Share. Open up. And you will not have to be forced open.
Well, I know what you shared about Spider-Man back there. I wanted to ask if she perhaps could apply the same.
Of course, if that feels good to her. Her imagination will always construct the perfect scenario if she trusts it and acts upon it. Then she will have the result of that trust and action. Automatically. Thank you.
Okay. The other thing that I need to ask is that I want to ask
okay.
is in my meditations I have gotten to a point that very much like what Daryl is going through when he's leaving and you're coming in, there's a centering that's taking place.
Nice.
And the first time I did it, the closest thing I could describe to it was an orgasm.
All right.
And I have been very reluctant about telling you about this.
Well, you just did.
Yes, but I thought it's kind of necessary for me to do it now because I feel a burning desire to do it often.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good go. Understand, you are simply in touch with your own ecstasy.
Okay. Well, it has. I'm sort of in transition to go beyond that at this point.
You mean to use it?
Okay. Somehow I perceive if I go any further, I'm going to pass out.
You might. It'll be fun. But you might not. Trust that you never give yourself more than you can handle. Otherwise, what would be the point? Life is not illogical in that way.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes. Have you, when I think something's going to happen, it's like a person is going to show up or something.
Could be. Let me know, won't you?
Okay, I'll leave you alone.
Oh, thank you. Allow yourself to continue to experience your own ecstasy and see what manifests or womanifests. Thank you.
Bashar?
One moment.
Yes, that's my name, and that's what I wanted to share about, is my name. I've discovered a strength and a centeredness in meditation, and also now I'm just using it whenever, in my daily action. It is my full name, Pamela Newstreet, and I found the last few days in meditation, I found when I breathed in my last name, it seemed to work out that way, breathed in my last name and breathed out my first name, I felt, I don't even know how to describe what I felt, but a connection with everything. I am all that.
To the fullness of your vibration. Yes.
Yes. And I loved it. I just wanted to go out there and shake everyone's hand and introduce myself. But I was already doing that. It was like, I knew it wasn't necessary. It was just something that, in fact, I did do. I sent out a portion of myself.
All right.
It'll take forever, it'll be fun,
Whatever. It's already done.
Right. But it was a fun idea. It was a feeling of love and of sharing.
Yes.
That I just wanted to shake everyone's hand.
Thank you, Pamela.
Yes.
Thank you. One moment. Yeah.
Thank you.
You were next.
Bashar, I have always had a very unusual relationship with animals in this life.
Unusual?
Unusual. Well, other people say that it's unusual.
Oh, all right.
The forms they come to me in are unusual varieties. And 5 years ago, through a series of incidents, I was given a great horned owl baby, which I raised for 5 years.
Right.
His name was Sydney.
Oh, right.
And now he's free.
Always has been.
Yes, but in the canyon areas.
All right.
He was injured in one talon permanently.
Right.
And what I was curious to know is he still alive?
Time frame of release.
Time frame of release was last August. No, a year ago last August. A year and a half he's been.
Yes. Our perception is that there is still life in that vibration.
So he's been able to measure.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And there's one other question I have. Or actually, it's not a question. What I wanted to do was tell you that last week you spoke about anger.
Good.
And what you gave us in information has profoundly affected my universe.
Well, thank you for creating it to do so. You have profoundly affected your universe.
Well, I thank you for your reflection.
Oh,
of
thank
it. I'm very grateful.
you. You wise old owl. Thank you. Stephen. Yes. No?
Yes.
Oh. One moment. You remember?
No, I don't.
Oh, all right. Must be a new you.
I've been having that a lot lately.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Well,
Then you.
Okay, what you just said just before about opening up to me.
Yes.
That's just reaching me. Because I have this thing about...
This thing.
Yeah. French Canadian thing. Sometimes I feel open and I talk about everything I feel, and then sometimes I don't because I feel if I talk about it, it won't happen. So sometimes I have a cold, and I say, well, I'm going to tell everybody I have a cold and it'll go away.
All right.
That's the way I feel. But if I don't talk about it, then I feel it's going to stick or something.
Understand, any given moment can bring with it a different way of relating the idea. You can create the idea of a cold one time and feel that the thing for you to do would be to talk about it, and the next time, not to. Do not judge that you are changing with respect to how you relate that idea.
Right. Yeah, that's great. I just want to share that what you just said before really hit me.
Did it hurt?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Not very good.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's something I always think, like, this little chatter inside that says, what? Yeah, chatter. That says, well, I want to talk about it, but I said, no, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, once I went, no, I don't want to talk about it. Nah. Oh, gee, I should have talked about it.
Sounds like you are having a very enjoyable tennis match.
Yeah, right. So I just decided to talk about it right now.
Well, thank you very much for being willing to share in the manner you have been willing to share with him.
Okay, also, I was going to say, well, Steve, want me to talk about it? Well, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, thank you for sharing in that manner.
It's just that I hit myself on the wall. I cracked my skull.
Oh.
And I think it's just one of the idea what you said just before, like, you're forced open or something like that.
All right.
And also I feel that I went through death regarding that thing because it really hurt me, and I was like for about 2 or 3 hours I was really in pain.
All right.
It still hurts a little, but it's going away.
All right.
So I think it goes in that I'm rewinding the whole thing.
Thank you very much for your self-realization.
Yeah, thanks.
Bashar?
One moment. Yes.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I'm in a bit of a quandary about...
Quandary? Where's that?
About a situation which I seem to keep creating over and over.
Nice.
Well, like, in my practice of work, that I have a 24-hour cancellation policy, and I have an green email, like, which I have my clients sign and should agree to, that like when they cancel a session less than 24 hours before that time, they agree to pay for that session.
All right.
Well, no, like one thing that has happened over and over again, and I'm right in the midst of the same thing now. There's a man who called me, like 17 hours before the session, and canceled the session, and it is mildly inconvenient for him, like, to be there. And like what I seem to create is like is to let them is to let them off the hook, but then like not confront them, because I feel like like this man like I know that if I remind him of the agreement with me that he signed, like he will get real angry.
Why do you think so?
Because I know this man.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like
One moment.
Okay.
Understand, I am not really asking you to answer me.
Okay.
Listen to the idea. What does that mean? It is, in a sense, what you call a rhetorical question. Listen to the idea that I should even ask you that question, and answer it for yourself. I know this man. But understand, anyone in your reality is who you have created them to be, your version of them in that way. That is the version of the man you know. You do not know the whole being nor what it could change into, should you decide to change as well.
Right. Well, the only thing is that I can say is that I've tried it both ways. In certain situations I have either confronted people with a agreement, and like it seems I've set this up so that it's a lose-lose, because people do not like to pay for something that they don't get, like even if they have made an agreement to do that.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you create that agreement?
Well, because my sessions are an hour and a half long, and like if people, cancel out at me, like on me, like right before, I mean, that really...
Then you have an hour and a half to do something else.
I know, although the place that I work is, it's just the logistics of the situation.
Logistics?
I mean,
I understand you are referring to a particular framework, structure, reference, time, space, point, idea.
Right.
But in this way, also recognize it may be your willingness to explore the idea of loosening that structure up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And functioning within your integrity, yes, but perhaps also functioning within your integrity in a slightly less structured manner. Now, not to say that you need to create a situation in which you feel you are being taken advantage of, but you can create the idea of trusting, thank you, and trusting the idea that you will then attract clientele that will support you exactly as you need to be supported, and not feel that you must create a rigid structure to reinforce what you obviously doubt will happen on its own. If you feel you need to enforce the idea that they must make up for your valuable time, then you are really, in a sense, saying that you don't believe that in and of itself the being that you are can draw enough support. You have to take out insurance.
Well, I do hear that, and
it is a double-edged opportunity. For on one hand, it does give you the opportunity to explore the idea of maintaining the integrity that you do lay down, and on the other hand, it gives you the opportunity to explore how you have laid down your particular demand of your integrity.
Well, I just want to say one more thing. When people, can't, so on short, then sometimes, I lose that time.
Lose?
And that money that I could give to another person that wants that time.
But understand, if another person needs to be there, they will be there, automatically. Understand it can work that way. If one person cancels, another one will automatically come in and say, have you got a cancellation? Why, yes, what a coincidence! I just happen to have just gotten a cancellation. And my trust allowed me to know that if I needed the money, something would come in. And here you are. Thank you very much. Life works if you let it. You follow me?
Yeah.
It does happen that way if you are willing to trust that it can. Therefore, you do not have to make those rigid demands that a specific individual fill your needs, because as long as you know you are being of service, you will attract whoever needs to be there to be of service to you back. You are simply making the specific demand that it be that individual or no one. So you are left with time on your hands.
Sure. Well, and in this situation that's going down like right now, I don't, I still don't understand how to workably deal with the broken agreement.
Nothing is broken. Do not make the demand, and nothing can be broken. If you trust that someone is going to cancel because of a change in their situation, and you know that the agreement is still functioning within integrity, then whatever needs to occur will occur in exactly the right amount of time. You won't have to worry about it. If you don't make a wall, it can't be broken down. Allow life to flow through your office.
So, like, you're saying that I should loosen the, that I should joyfully, loosen the structure of that particular agreement.
No, not should, but if you do, and trust it, You may find that you will flow with enough clientele to make you very happy. And when they don't show up, it will occur at exactly the time you feel like you need a little vacation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You also might find that man never cancels on you again.
That could be. You never know. Two. Yes?
Could you tell me the month and day of my birth?
Do you not know it?
That is correct. I have discovered lately that I have not been looking at a lie, and I decided to find out what it was.
Not been what?
I have been living a lie.
Living a lie?
Yes.
How so?
Using someone else's birth certificate.
So?
So I'd like to know what day I was born on.
Someone else?
Is it circumstance of your physical situation that you do not know? In other words, you do not know place of your birth?
I know the place.
Where is the place?
Long Beach, California.
What is your physiological age?
50.
How did you come to choose the other certificate?
I was abandoned.
All right.
And I chose to be adopted.
Who chose your name?
My new parents.
All right. Did they, when they adopted you, never tell you how old you were when they adopted you? Could they not tell?
That's correct.
They could not tell.
Right.
Roughly, how old were you?
A month.
Then you have an approximate idea.
Correct.
What month do you assume?
March.
In your astrological terms, you are Piscean. So it is close enough. Our perception is of a 22nd day. Now, whether in your terms that is your month of February or March is not clear. The aspect of your personality carries with it the idea of high psychic manifestation that you associate with Piscean qualities. You follow me?
Yes.
In this way, because of what you have created yourself to be, I will find that perhaps in your terms I cannot be accurate, but for my perception, what you call February 22nd would be valid. That is the form of the assistance I can offer you.
Thank you.
222. We will assume that because this is the manner in which the interaction has taken place, it will serve you as it needs to, should there be any additional information from another source or not.
Correct.
Thank you for allowing us to serve you in that way and for sharing. And We know what you mean, but it has not been a lie. For again, even that particular aspect of your life has made you what you are. So it is something that you decided, in a sense, to include, to take yourself where you now find yourself. All right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Sure.
Yes?
On the question of anger that we were discussing last week, I realized one of the things I would like to explore, and that is the idea of being invited and therefore being of service to someone who invites from you, not from you, but the generic us, a sharp response, sharp verbal response.
Yes.
Shout.
Yes.
Would you comment on that?
Well, simply you do not have to accept the invitation.
True. However, when on those occasions when I do respond that way, I do feel the idea of being of service to that individual.
Well, all right, of course you can look at it that way, and then all you are simply doing is not judging yourself for having responded.
Right.
In a way that perhaps you do not necessarily prefer.
Right. No more to say about that than that?
Not really.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
All right.
Brief. What is the difference, in effect, between using shortened forms of our names, nicknames, versus using the full long form of our names?
Familiarity.
Well, that's obvious. But in terms of the vibrational effects...
Well, I am not being facetious.
No, I realize that. But I perceive that there is an additional effect that shortening the name has in terms of the form of,
It allows you to function more as a unit with each other.
By shortening?
Yes.
How so?
Well, you function as a team when you are familiar.
Yes, okay. Okay, well, my perception is that the full name carries the full vibrational aspect of the beingness. I was wondering how shortening it changes that.
The nickname carries the aspect that may delineate the specific purpose you have between yourself and that individual. Like dealing with one facet of a crystal instead of the whole thing.
When you say that individual, you mean another individual that you're dealing with?
Who may use that nickname for you.
I see, okay.
So they are drawing upon a particular aspect of your total crystalness.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What if you changed your whole name into a nickname?
Then you are simply assuming the idea that your vibration is focused in that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar?
All right.
Thank you.
Then you.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you how I might be able to serve my father at this moment. If you had any ideas to help him if he is having heart trouble, quite seriously.
Feeling the shifting electromagnetic spectrum in that way, has there already been a weakness in that area?
Yes. He has had several heart attacks through his life, and in the last year he's been in the hospital 3 times.
As the fourth density transformation increases and as your heart chakras become sensitized to the electromagnetic shifting, you may find that those that have created the idea of a weakened state in that area may be susceptible. And some of them may be, in your terms, pushed out. Now, what does it do for you?
The idea of my father being
Yes.
pushed out?
Or simply what you are dealing with now. What does it do for you? How does his choice serve you to make your choice?
It connects me to him more.
All right. All right. And your choice in terms of how you live your life? May I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
When sometimes we ask you to use your imagination, perhaps because of the form you have made it in literature in your society, it would help you to take that statement in what you might call a science fiction flavor. Let the scenario as you are forming in your imagination your so-called connection to your father from your heart to his heart, let the pictures be ones that don't necessarily make sense in your society's terms. Let it be imaginary. And see if the feeling is not more accurately defined. All right?
All right.
So what do you think then? How does the connection from his heart to your heart allow you to make the choices in your life that you are making?
I do not want to be as afraid of emotions as he is.
Are you?
No.
All right. Have you shared the idea with him that he might be afraid of emotion?
Oh, I'm afraid to.
I see.
I think he'll have a heart
And so you are, in fact, equally afraid, just as he is.
I feel like I can see his fear and he can't, so I feel like I'm
Can you
not
see
as
your
afraid.
own?
Yes.
All right then. Share the idea that you see within you a fear to share your emotions, and perhaps you will allow it to be all right for him to do so, which may take some of the pressure off his heart.
Yes.
Be a reflection for him in the same way he has been a reflection for you. Do not be afraid of your own emotions. All right.
All right.
Then you will be being an example to him that he can choose to imitate.
Yes. Is there anything else, Bashar?
Nope. Not for now. No matter what the manifestation of his choice, do not create the idea of regret. All right?
Yeah, yes. I guess that is in there. That I regret a relationship we didn't have, or...
You had exactly the relationship that you needed to be exactly who you are.
Yeah. Yes.
Now that you are cognizant of that idea, you can transform the relationship into something else. The definition into something else. Is exactly what will fulfill you later on. All right?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bashar.
You here.
That was very nice what you told her. I really like that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So what is?
Thank you. I've had this recurring dream where my father and I are in his twin engine plane, and we run into some kind of mechanical difficulty, and he goes, well, the only thing we can do is start at the beginning. So he cuts the engine, intending to go through the check sheet of how you start.
Guys?
And the plane goes into a dive.
Guys?
And I don't know how it ends.
You don't?
But,
It ends like this. And then I woke up.
yeah. I just wake up.
All right. Has it ended? No, it is still going on. I just woke up, that is all.
What's going to happen?
I don't know.
Well,
Tune in to the next exciting installment. Will they pull out of this one? Oh, you do? How intuitive of you. Some symbology. Maybe.
no, come on. I know.
Well, what do you think of your relationship?
With my dad?
No, with the plane. About to have a very intimate relationship with the ground. Well. Are there a few things you would like to go over on your checklist?
With my dad, yeah.
Well, well, do it. Well, then perhaps you can pull out of the dive you feel you are in.
I haven't been too successful in the past.
Understand, It is not that you have to fulfill your expectation, but that you are willing to take the action to function within your own integrity and know that you have done your best. So then you can fly your own wings. All right? No, thank you.
Bashar.
You!
Me?
You!
First of all, I'd like to share a dream that I had recently that was synchronicity itself.
Oh! How exciting!
Yeah. I was staying overnight at my folks.
Right.
I woke up, but I wasn't ready to get up, and I thought, well, I'll go back. I should get up and take a shower, but I think I'll sleep a little longer.
All right.
The instant I went back to sleep, I had a dream about taking a shower.
All right.
It started right away, and I said, well, I'm going to take a shower in a dream.
Right.
So I looked down, I had this blue key in my hand. I looked up and there's a blue door. I said, this key is going to fit that door.
How convenient.
Yes, really. I opened the door, and sure enough, there's a wonderful little shower room, and I thought, oh, this is great. Oh, but I'd forgotten my clothes and my purse, so I had, I'd forgotten my clothes and my towel.
Right.
So I locked my purse in the room,
Right.
and I ran off to get my towel and my clothes. And usually in the dream, the minute the action changes, I never get back to what I started with.
However,
I did. And meanwhile, what happened that was so amazing to me was that all of a sudden I realized the whole scenario. I'm in this girls' college, and I remember that I had classes that morning, and we just had time. It was lunchtime, and we just had time to take a shower. And when I recall this later, I thought, fantastic. This is exactly what Bashar was talking about. You create your past from your present. It was happening right there in the dream. Yes. So that was the first thing. So I went back, unlocked the door again, opened it up, no shower.
Oh,
that's exactly what I said. And then I realized, I've already taken a shower.
all right.
And the room was wet there, and there was also a towel and a little mat. I thought, oh, isn't this nice? They really do things nicely here.
This sounds familiar.
And then I realized, I've already taken a shower, but I didn't remember having done it. And I thought, this is great. What this is your present is not dependent, a result of your past. And I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Thank you for doing it in the same manner with the shower as was done by the other individual as well.
Exactly. Also, I do have a question.
Another synchronicity.
I love it. It's happening all the time. A friend of mine asked me to ask you about the Anasazi Indians. He likes to visit a place in Arizona where they have cliff dwellings. And he wanted me to ask about a particular spot there that has some magic significance. What can you tell me about that?
Communications took place there. Communications from your planet to another realm. The energy of the communications still exists. The doorway is still open. The link, the conduit, wide open.
What could be done by my friend in that place? Could we actually communicate? And is it too serious?
It is connected to that conduit, but it is also connected to many other places. It is one of the direct connection points to what you call Kachina energy and Kachina consciousness. although they had a subtle variation of that idea in that area. There is a particular ceremony in your terms which does exist for those people in standing in that spot, in having that communication. You can find out what that is and do it.
How would you discover that?
Talk to them.
Ah, okay.
Or read. There is information, what you call your literature, that he can allow himself to synchronistically come across.
Okay. Can you tell me any more about the Anasazi themselves? Where they came from, where they went?
In this way, the majority of what you call your American Indian culture, regardless of the specific offshoot, have connections to what you call Lemuria, and to some degree also communication and existence extraterrestrially and extra-dimensionally. For that was their literal lifestyle, to exist in both realms at once, consciously. Now, those particular individuals that you are referring to in our perception have a particular fondness for the idea of water in a bowl, water in a jug, the essence that is contained within the shell. Allow them to explore the idea of an earthenware bowl with pure spring water in it, and perform for himself the idea of divination with that tool. See what he contacts. All right?
Yes. I feel a strong connection with this, and it has to do with being an Aquarian symbol.
That is why the water.
Yes, exactly. The water bearer.
Yes.
Can you say anything more about that?
No.
For me.
I will leave it up to your imagination to take what we have already shared and see what you do with it.
Very good.
Bashar.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would you share a title for this song?
Connection?
No, already been taken.
Synchronous showers, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir? One moment. Or showers of synchronicity.
Ah, I like that one. More poetic.
Yes?
Over the last few years in meditations, I have seen crystals and have connected with what I believe to be a lifetime or an existence in Atlantis.
All right, yes. Continue.
In my mind, I feel drawn to crystals, although I don't use them because my mind tells me that they're just a symbol, and whatever I put into it is what I'll get out of it.
Yes. Plus, they do not carry the same symbology they did in Atlantis and cannot be used in exactly the same way because your mentality is different.
Oh, okay. So my question was, what connection did I have with crystals in Atlantis?
Well, you did in that way. Create them, build them, utilize them. They were the sources of power that drove the machines that did exist in that way. Mm-hmm. Their vibrations ultimately also are what set off the chain reactions that destroyed the island's landmass. No. It is the reference you refer to in your literature as the flood.
Was I a female?
Now, understand, you have had many lifetimes in Atlantis. It covered a wide range of time frames.
I'm referring to, what, the information that...
You seem to be a priestess, yes.
Yeah. I felt as though I had, or I should say the connections and the pull that I feel is towards the end of that time period.
Yes.
And I was referring to,
yes.
Was I dealing with crystals and was I a female at that time?
Yes. Also, however, we find there was a very strong connection with a counterpart of yourself from the same whole soul that was also a male.
I'm sorry, I don't understand this. Could you go a little slower?
Do you know what a counterpart is?
I think I do.
It is another, what you would perceive to be another person that comes from the same soul that you do. Not exactly. In a sense, it can be, but simply the idea is that you understand that one soul is responsible for having past, present, and future lives, yes?
Yes.
Understand you can have simultaneous ones as well.
Mm-hmm. Does that count? Do you follow the
counterpart?
Is that counterpart with me in this lifetime now?
Yes.
Can you tell me who that person is?
Maybe. In your case, our perception immediately, if this makes any sense to you at all, would be that it is someone with intense dark eyes.
Male?
Yes. Can be more a work associate. You follow me?
A work associate. I can't.
Then perhaps you have not met him. But he is present. And seemingly in our perception, very close.
Very close. You mean somebody that's very close as far as...
In time frame structure. In terms of interaction.
In my life. So it could be somebody that I know that I just not recognizing.
Or somebody you will meet very shortly.
Ah.
That is our perception at this time.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Could have dark hair as well.
Mm-hmm.
Will seem to be very intense. May have a beard.
These guys are making okay, stop it now. I think
may have a gold ring. May have a ruby or an emerald in it. Or both. And maybe also a diamond. Maybe all three.
I think I have a feeling this person has nothing to do with my work environment, never has, but there is someone in my life that I'm thinking of that resembles that. If I was to tell you a name, first name, would you be able to?
Maybe.
John?
Best I can give you is it could be.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
For you, there will be a few more minutes remaining in this interaction.
Bashar.
You.
Me?
You.
Oh. Oh dear, which question?
Caught you off guard.
Yeah. Well, this was something personal. I've now and then become aware of a ranch where there's a group of us doing specific work, sort of metaphysical work.
Yes.
And I've seen it. I've been there. It's been shown to me. It's even been where I am. I mean, I've created it in this body space, but I haven't run across it.
Across what?
Well, in other words, there's a ranch, and I don't know if it's set up now or it's strictly in my future. And I was just wondering if you could pinpoint it or.
Yes. Right there. Do you feel like taking a vacation?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, not really.
Not really? Why not?
Because I've already been on one.
Where to?
What do you mean? Oh no, I just in my experience, I've been taking it easy.
Oh, very good. All right.
It just seems that there's a ranch that's sometimes it's so real to me, but
Well,
I can't run across it.
If you know that it is within you, and you allow yourself to begin to explore the idea of creating it, then if it exists already, you will run across it. Also understand, it is allegorical for the idea of the relaxation within yourself. It does not have to be physical, although it can become physical. When you act upon some of that relaxation and form connections to other individuals who may wish to put something like that together, but not necessarily together for the purpose of creating it, but to do something else and create that in the process of doing something else.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Not that it is in and of itself an end result. See beyond it. See beyond it, and you will find it.
Oh, thanks. That's
If you only see to it, then in that way you will stumble around in all the different roads that might lead there. And in this way, seeing beyond it will allow you to already know the road that leads to it. Because it will be familiar.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Bashar.
Yes.
Okay, I'm being sued for $1,600.
All right.
And I'm not taking the idea very well.
Oh, all right.
I'm observing my tendency to kind of freak out over the idea. I've been served paper saying I am the defendant. It's a legal term.
Oh. Never met a legal term before.
Well, that's one now. And,
all right.
I'm observing my tendency to lose sleep and just can't think of anything else but having to deal with it.
Well, all right. Why do you imagine you have created this idea?
Well, I imagine that I've created it so I could observe my tendency to do this, so I can maybe...
Why in this way?
I don't know. It's,
what is their reason?
Their reason? They want money.
Are you saying in this way the idea is that you do not have it to give them?
Well, what they want to do is have me pay over a period of years by attaching my salary, having me pay like $30 a month for 4.5 years or something like that.
All right. Do you owe them the money?
No.
Why not?
I don't feel I owe them anything.
Why not? Why do they feel you do?
Well, I had a small fire in my apartment. It did probably less than $100 damage, but my landlord made a claim, and he claimed a whole bunch of stuff, and they paid him $1,600.
All right. Have you explained this to someone?
No.
Why not?
They came and talked to my manager, and my manager was an old lady who used to accuse me of all kinds of things. She told them a story that I was negligent and that I was in a different room and all kinds of stuff. And,
so in this way, are you saying that you will have an opportunity to state your case?
Well, I have to now. I don't have any choice. I have 30 days to answer. And
answer how?
Well, I'm supposed to hire a lawyer. Their strategy is that the cost in lawyers' fees would be more than the $1,600, so I'll just pay them. That's the idea. And I don't know all the legal things that I have to do.
Can you find out?
I tried to make some calls, but every lawyer I called said, I'll just do this for $100 or do that for $100. And,
there are free lawyers. There are free lawyers that you can contact.
I looked up to try to find free lawyers, and I
Under what category?
At the courthouse, there are free lawyers for
There's a number that says legal assistance. I called the guy up. He says, "Give me $100."
Is it, in your terms, legal assistance specifically with regard to the idea of your situation?
I don't know. I called a whole bunch of numbers, and they kept giving me each other's numbers.
Do you not have individuals who have chosen to be of service with regard to what you call the idea of renting?
Yeah, well, they said that this has to do with evictions, so they kept giving me different numbers, and I never could find anyone who knew of anyone who could deal with my situation. In other words, I just got the runaround.
All right. Are you tired?
Yes.
All right. Then stop running and stand up for yourself. Without judging the other individual who is giving you a marvelous opportunity to state your case yourself.
Right.
And simply make it plain as to what you perceive the situation to be. Then see what happens.
Right.
Without accusing. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you. And recognize that you may still have individuals who may suggest other individuals to whom you can talk. And in this way, allow yourself the opportunity, if you feel so inclined, to talk to them. But recognize that if the situation they present to you always makes it seem that you must rely on yourself, then take it as the obvious reflection of what the situation is.
Right.
Relying on yourself.
I'm coming to that. I'm seeing that I may do a better job just taking care of it myself than actually hiring a lawyer to do it for me. But one thing I'm having to deal with is the fact that I worry about it so much. I am observing my tendency to worry.
All right. Then simply include that in your understanding of what you are becoming.
Right.
And know that at the proper place and the proper time, you will say what you need to say, as the being you happen to be at that moment. And for you, it will be perfect, no matter what the outcome.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
Trust that and see what happens.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Yes.
Well, my left leg is a little bit shorter than my right leg, an inch.
All right.
And so the left side of my body compensates, it kind of goes down to match the length of my leg. I'm not expressing that exactly the way I want.
All right.
But, okay, so my back has some mild curves in it, and I've been working therapeutically on it for a while, and I'm wondering if you can give me a visualization or a key to helping that left leg grow in length to match the right leg.
All right. This will be a measure of your willingness, however, for as I perceive the suggestion I can make to you, it will come from the portion of your higher consciousness that says, let's deal with willingness. All right?
Yeah.
Now, this does not mean that if you don't do it this way, you can't do something. However, the suggestion that we perceive the information coming from your higher consciousness, allow yourself to go around. Well, all right. Let me back up. You have made a general agreement with all beings in this reality to set limits upon what can be accomplished in your physical reality. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, what you can do is petition to have that agreement changed.
All fun.
Follow me? Discuss with individuals who you think will be of like mind the idea that even though you recognize that in that way, creating this physical reality, you have agreed to abide by the idea of the physical rules and that things can't just automatically stretch and grow in that way. Allow yourself to discuss the possibility that the rule can be changed. So you, in that journey and in those interactions, will be changing the rule. And you will make a difference And you will find automatically, perhaps at the end of that journey, you will automatically be on even keel. Alright?
Yes, thank
you. That is our suggestion. Allow your imagination to alter it in whatever way seems appropriate for you to maintain your own sense of balance. Alright?
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you very much. That is the whole idea. You saw right through that.
Sure. I'd like to say that I give her my signature on her condition.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And understand, it is not in that way that just the acceptance, but also the fun of the interaction and the discussion about the idea, seen from all the different perspectives with whom you will discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just carte blanche.
Yeah.
You follow me? Can be that way. And if you find fun in the discussion, that is all right too.
Yes, is Shapop coming through tonight? I heard there was a possibility of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bashar?
You!
It was told to me that I'm a filmmaker, and it was told to me that I would be channeling a life from Sirius that would be able to be projected directly onto film and have to not go through all the processes we now look at in filmmaking. And I was wondering if you could give me some sort of idea of a time frame in which that might be possible.
Right now! If you understand yourself in this way to be the idea of the electromagnetic phenomena we have discussed many times in that way, you can allow yourself the opportunity to recognize every single idea of materiality in your terms, including what you call the idea of the film, to simply be a rearrangement of the magnetic process in that way, and to impose the idea of your vibration upon the idea of the vibration of the magnetic film in that way, to form an identification and to leave your mark in that sense. Do you follow along with what I'm saying?
Yes.
Can you allow your imagination to function in this way as the idea of your projector? The imagination is your projector that allows you to translate the white light of your higher consciousness out into the spectrum in that way, the prism in that sense, to project the picture through your lens of imagination onto the screen of your reality in that way. Allow your imagination to be the projector and allow yourself to design that projector in whatever way, shape, and form and manner that you so deem the ability will be inherent within the projector itself to enable you to allow yourself to experience that phenomena, that manifestation in your physiological reality, will then only exhibit the idea of the form and the substance that you give it, of the script that you write for it in that way as you pass that film through your projector. That is what you will see on your screen. Are you following along?
Yes.
Thank you. Understanding this way, the idea of the serious energy, as you call the reference to ourselves in that sense, is the idea of manifested energy in and of itself. It is its own reinforcing holographic pattern. Allow yourself to explore the idea of the holographic patterns of magnetism in that way, and allow yourself to recognize that you yourself can even create the idea, technically, of a new type of projector, a new type of presentation in that way that will take the opportunity to present magnetically induced holographic patterns that will give you your first clue into the understanding of how even your physical reality is impressed in that manner with the idea of that type of projection through your imagination. Follow me?
Yes.
We exist in that way within the serious energy in what you call a magnetic effluvium, and immersed in the idea of the electromagnetic impulse which creates our consciousness and allows us to interact as the magnetic field in which we exist as well. We view the idea and our viewing within our own transformation as we are concurrent and congruent with your transformation. The idea of our existence is becoming not the idea that we exist within that medium, but that we are the medium itself. You follow me?
Yes.
Become the medium yourself in that way, and you will be able to imprint and impress any idea within the manifestation of your physical reality that you so desire. You follow me?
Yes.
Become the crystalline form of your own projector in that way, so that focus through the facets of yourself to be the idea of any particular aspect of any frame of that film. You know your life has been chosen to be by you. All right? In this way, each and every one of you, allow yourself the opportunity to recognize this in the second half of what you call the activity month of your April month. Your timing frame in this way will become more highly accelerated in a sense, and we are allowing yourself the opportunity to present our energy to you to make use of whatever way, shape, or form your imagination so desires. Allow yourself to recognize that we will be in communication with you many times through the remainder of this month that you call the idea of April, and often into the idea of what you call your May, for the renewal of the natural spirit of yourself, and the formation of what will become the idea of identification of yourself to that portion of your consciousness you consider to be nature, the idea of your May, the idea of your spring in that May, and the idea of your own godhood within the creation you see around you, the animal consciousness, the nature consciousness, even extending into the idea of the mineral consciousness. We shall be exploring this with you. We will cite you in this way for your endeavor in allowing us to expedite the idea of the acceleration by sharing with you our consciousness as a reflection of the acceleration you have created for yourselves, by yourselves, with us, with yourselves, and your willingness to share the unconditional love you have shared with us in this way. We will thank you, and we will in this way bid you a fond and loving dream life, and a fond good night. Now, as I was saying, we will, in this way, extend to each and every one of you our unconditional love as well, and allow you to recognize that the idea of your activity month is your opportunity, your joy to see yourselves in motion. You are a beautiful sight when you are in motion. You are poetry in motion. And that rhyme that you create yourself with will be reflected in the simultaneous synchronicity that our lives will become. We thank you for your sharing. We extend our love and our appreciation for allowing us to experience the gift that you are, and to experience all the different ways that all that it has of manifesting itself in creation. We extend to you our excitement and our joy at the sharing that you have chosen to co-create with us forever. We thank you. We bid you a fond and loving good night.
Good night.